The permanent mistake. Imagine for a moment it's 2014. You're young, full of questionable adrenaline, and convinced that a tribal-style squirrel on your shoulder is a bold, artistic statement that will stand the test of time. You go to a shop, endure the stinging needles, and walk out with a permanent piece of art. But fast forward 10 years, the squirrel looks less like a spirit animal and more like a blurry ink blob. You want it gone. We're often told that tattoos are permanent, a forever decision etched into your very being. And for most of human history, that was true. If you wanted a tattoo gone in ancient Egypt or 18th century Europe, your options were basically cutting that piece of skin off or burning it with acid. Not great. But today, we have lasers. It feels like science fiction. We point a beam of concentrated light at your skin, and poof, the ink vanishes. It turns out, however, that the reality is much more violent, microscopic, and strangely heroic than you might think. To understand how we erase the permanent, we first need to look at why tattoos stay there in the first place. The microscopic fortress. To your eyes, a tattoo is just a picture on your skin. But if we zoom in to the microscopic level, we find ourselves in a chaotic war zone. Your skin is a highly defensive organ. Its job is to keep the outside world out. When a tattoo needle pierces your epidermis and hits the dermis, the deeper, stable layer of skin, it's essentially an invasion. Thousands of tiny punctures per minute deliver droplets of ink. To your immune system, this ink is a foreign invader, like a virus or a splinter. Your body reacts immediately. It sends in the heavy infantry, macrophages. These are specialized white blood cells whose entire job is to eat things that shouldn't be there. The macrophages arrive at the scene of the injury, open their microscopic mouths, and start swallowing the ink particles. And here is where the tattoo's permanence comes from. The ink particles are simply too big. Imagine a person trying to swallow a whole refrigerator. They can wrap their arms around it, but they aren't going anywhere. The macrophages swallow what they can, but the majority of the ink is stuck in giant clumps. Eventually, these cells just sit there, holding the ink in place within the dermis, effectively trapping the color in a microscopic stalemate. Your tattoo isn't just ink sitting in your skin. It's a collection of billions of tiny cells holding on to pigment for dear life, waiting to die so another cell can take their place and keep holding the line. Your tattoo is a permanent monument to an immune system that refused to give up. Enter the laser. So how do we break the stalemate? We need to help the macrophages finish the job. We need to break the refrigerator into bite-sized pieces. This is where things get weird. To remove a tattoo, we use a laser, specifically a Q-switched or picosecond laser. These aren't like the lasers that cut metal or scan your groceries. These lasers fire in unimaginably short bursts, trillionths of a second. Imagine for a moment you have a giant boulder in your front yard. If you hit it with a blowtorch for an hour, it might get hot, but it stays a boulder. But if you hit it with a massive sledgehammer for 1/1000th of a second with incredible force, the vibration alone might shatter it into dust. That's what the laser does. It uses a process called photothermolysis. The laser emits a specific wavelength of light that is tuned to the color of the ink. Black ink is the easiest because black absorbs all wavelengths. It's like a sponge for light energy. Blue and green are trickier, and yellow is the final boss of tattoo removal. When the laser hits the ink particles heat up to thousands of degrees almost instantly. But because the pulse is so fast, the heat doesn't have time to spread to the surrounding skin. Instead, the ink particle undergoes a photomechanical shockwave. It literally explodes. The giant ink refrigerator is shattered into tiny, microscopic pebbles.
But here's the thing, the laser doesn't actually remove the tattoo. It just breaks the rocks. Your body still has to do the heavy lifting. Once the ink is shattered, those patient macrophages finally get their chance. They swoop in, gobble up the tiny fragments, and carry them away. But where do they go? In reality, your tattoo is eventually, well, you pee it out. The macrophages carry the ink bits into your lymphatic system, which filters them through your lymph nodes and eventually sends them to your liver and kidneys to be processed as waste. Over the course of several weeks, your permanent mistake is slowly flushed down the toilet. This is why you can't remove a tattoo in one day. If you tried to shatter all the ink at once, the sheer amount of cellular debris and heat would overwhelm your skin and your immune system, leading to horrific scarring. You have to do it in sessions, usually spaced 6 to 8 weeks apart, giving your microscopic cleanup crew time to haul the trash to the dump.
The pain, the price, and the reality. Now, we have to talk about the catch, because there's always a catch. First, the pain. People often describe the sensation of a tattoo laser as a thick rubber band snapping against your skin, but that's a bit of an understatement. It's more like being splashed with hot grease while someone flicks you. It's fast, but it is intense. Then there's the cost. Getting a tattoo is relatively cheap. Removing it is an investment. Because it takes anywhere from 5 to 15 sessions to fully clear an image, you might end up spending 10 times what you originally paid for the art. And finally, the reality check. Removal isn't always 100%. Sometimes a ghost image remains. Some inks, especially newer neon colors or heavy metals, are incredibly stubborn. If your tattoo artist was heavy-handed and caused deep scarring, the ink might be trapped in a bunker of scar tissue that the laser can't easily reach. What's really happening is a gamble between your biology and physics. You are relying on your body's ability to heal and move material. If you have poor circulation, or if you smoke, which constricts your blood vessels, the removal process can take significantly longer. Your macrophages are basically stuck in a traffic jam.
The future of forgetting. Is there a better way? Scientists are currently looking into degradable tattoo inks, pigments encapsulated in tiny biodegradable spheres that are designed to be shattered easily if you ever change your mind. We're also seeing the rise of better laser technology that can target stubborn colors like vibrant purple without hurting the surrounding tissue. But for now, we're stuck with the tools we have. It turns out that tattoos are a fascinating testament to how our bodies work. We think of ourselves as solid, unchanging beings, but on the inside, we're a fluid, constantly renewing sea of cells. The fact that we can even remove a tattoo is a miracle of modern physics. We found a way to use light to talk to our immune cells, giving them the tools they need to fix a decision we made a decade ago. So if you're sitting there looking at a blurry tribal squirrel or a name of an ex-partner, don't despair. Your body is already trying to help you. It's been trying to remove that tattoo since the very second you got it. It just needs a little bit of help from a very fast, very expensive light. Human beings are the only creatures on Earth who try to decorate themselves permanently, and the only ones who spend so much time trying to figure out how to hit the undo button. Maybe that's what makes us human, our ability to change our minds and the incredible microscopic effort our bodies go through to let us start over with a clean slate. In the end, our skin is a record of where we've been, but thanks to a bit of clever science, it doesn't have to be a permanent map of who we used to be.